My name is Vu Van. I'm the co-founder and CEO of ELSA. ELSA is one of the best AI that uses voice recognition technology that's proprietary to us to help language learners around the world improve their English speaking skill. We currently have about 120 employees in different offices. We have offices in our headquarters in the Bay Area in the US, and then we have offices in Vietnam, India, Japan, and then we have a few operations staff and business development staff in Latin America as well. When we started the company, given that my co-founder and I are in different parts of the world, he's based out of Lisbon, Portugal, and I'm based out of the Bay Area, we decided to build a remote-first company that was way before COVID. So we had decided that our team should be able to be working remotely, distributed team. We started out with our AI team sitting closer to my CTO in Portugal, and then the rest of the company's product and engineering would be closer to me in the Bay Area as well. And then since then, we have started expanding the company. Now we have a big engineering team in Asia, including Vietnam and India. Then we have our AI team in Europe. Product and leadership is staying in the Bay Area. Marketing is in the Bay Area. And then we have business development people on the ground in different markets like Vietnam, India, Japan, Latin America. So when we built the company at the beginning, even though we are distributed, I think we were a little bit less structured in where we put the team and who we put the team where. And so we would have some engineers randomly sitting in Vietnam, and then we have some backend sitting in Portugal, and then we have a product manager in Vietnam, but then a designer in the Bay Area. I think that didn't work for us when the team was too scattered. Like the cross-functional collaboration was extremely challenging. When you get a product manager to work with a designer in different time zones, they can't iterate fast enough. And so they would then be able, they can't really exchange ideas, and there's a lot of miscommunication, there's gaps, it takes a lot longer, like they have to wait for 24 hours for the other person to wake up in order for them to fix the mistakes and keep doing it again. So what we then realized is that yes, global workforce is very important and we can make it work, but we got to be a little bit more strategic in where you put the people and how. For example, product and engineers at the junior level should be co-locating together because there's a lot of day-to-day operations. There's a sprint that they have to work together. They have to like execute the features and develop the features, and so there's a lot of collaboration. But if you put like more senior product managers that more in charge of like road mapping and planning and strategy, then that person doesn't have to sit next to the engineers. They can be in the Bay Area. They work closely to the leadership team in order for them to plan, and they don't have to stay up late at night just to like wait for the engineer to wake up, right? So same for us. At the beginning, we have back-end team and a mobile team in very different parts of the world. And again, a lot of features require back-end and front-end to talk to each other. So when the front-end team wake up and need an API from the back-end, it doesn't work. So then we have to wait for the back-end to wake up. Versus now, when we put some of that together as a squad in the same location, it would just improve the communication and productivity by a lot more, right? So again, for us, we now started moving from like, hey, everybody can be anywhere, and we weren't strategic about where to put people. I think now we're being a little bit more structured, more thoughtful in who should be co-locating together in the same time zone, and we put them together even though they still are remote. And then who could be in a different time zone without hurting the collaboration and productivity. And for us, productivity, we keep track of it because for us it's very important. I think the beauty of having team globally in the different parts of the world is that we work across time zone. We usually say that we work 24/7, and it's really efficient when you can make it work because you go to sleep, somebody else in Asia is already working on something. By the time you wake up, everything's ready and ready to and for you to review, right? So people working across the time zone is extremely helpful, but then it might hurt your productivity if the collaboration is not there, meaning that if one thing does wrong, they have to go through the cycle and waste another 24 hours or so. So we usually measure productivity by how many mistakes that we have, how many misunderstandings that we have in communication. And then the action point for us is we err on over communicating everything in writing. Like we have all of our documentation. We're very, very strong in documentation because we want to make sure that there's no misunderstanding. That's including engineering documentation, design documentation and guideline, product documentation, sales operations. So everything is really well documented. And then the other way we measure productivity is employees' happiness, and we measure how many complaints, because usually people complain a lot, right? Like, hey, he's sitting over there, I can't really get to him. So we just measure it every quarter and say, hey, is there less friction and issues in collaboration between product and engineers? Is there less friction between product and designers? And if you can measure it over time, like that employee happiness score, and out of that, collaboration and communication is a key element. If you can see that it's trending in the right direction, you know that productivity is going up as well. Because when people feel like they can communicate better, of course they can deliver better work. And when something goes wrong, what we usually measure as a retrospective is how much of that going wrong is driven by time zone and communication. And if that comes up a lot, we know that it's not the right level of productivity and the right structure that we have, and then we have to change the work again. For us, building a globally distributed team has been working very well for us, but one of the biggest takeaway for us is that it's important to be structured and thoughtful about which role do you hire in which location, and make sure that cross-function collaboration is important. You won't lose productivity by having people in different time zones. You won't hurt their work-life balance and making them staying up late just so that they can work with a team in a different time zone, right? So making sure that anybody that had to work closely together in different teams, usually would be better for them to be co-locate. And then team that doesn't need to be involved on a daily basis can sit further away. That still ensure productivity and good collaboration across different teams.